Hey everybody, Ecwfan, the collector here. And yes, it's time for another monthly movie pickups. It's been a couple months since I did the last one, and I thought I'd go ahead and do one here in June. I'd go ahead and show off a couple, about 12 or 13 movies here. One's a collection set with a movie included, which I'll detail. But yeah, I added some nice ones. Not that big a volume. I might do one more before the end of summer, before after the end of summer, I have to see what I pick up. It's been kind of slow. I ain't hit the flea markets in a while, but we'll see. Anyhow, one of the first movies I picked up was Clint Eastwood in Bloodwork. Yeah, this is one of those I didn't know existed. I saw it. I was like, man, this is another one of those Clint Eastwood movies I didn't know happened. And Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up. Plus, it's called the best movie since Unforgiven that Eastwood's done. So, it should be a nice one. I remember all the big ones, In the Line of Fire, Unforgiven, Pale Rider, all those type of movies that you could remember of Eastwood's. But some of these, like The Gauntlet and that one, it's just unique movies that you never knowed existed. Now, moving on to a drama, I like musical dramas. I have a lot of the musical movies. I even had Dreamgirls for a while, which I actually watched on TV. I didn't really need to have the movie after that, so I think I got rid of it. I think I traded it for store credit. I might have traded it to Jason. But this one is The 5 Heartbeats. And I think this is like a Temptations type story, or, something like that. The Temptations story was really good. It's about 3 to 4 hours, and it's kind of sad. I'll never forget that final moments where it was, it pulls at the heartstrings a little bit. It's kind of sad. But yeah, The 5 Heartbeats, I've never watched this one. This one could be unique. I think I remember when this movie came out. I think it aired on HBO a few times. Cheap Thrills had a lot of the HBO movies. The Josephine Baker story, which I remember advertising a lot back in the day in the 90s on HBO. It was like, it would air a lot of times. But moving on, I went ahead and got this animation classic. Okay. If you watch the Ecwfan vlog 103, the Who is Sheena Easton vlog, me and Eddie was in there, and I was picking up a couple things. And they're in this volume. So, one of these I picked up was the Beavis and Butthead, the complete collection.
Hey, baby. Come to Butthead.
This has the entire series, and it has, let's see, and it has Beavis and Butthead, there it is, seasons 3 and 4, and it has the movie included. Yeah, this has the Beavis and Butthead Do America movie included. Yeah. The film is not showed on here. It just has the 4 seasons DVD set. But I went ahead and got it because I was going to put this on my list of movies I needed to get. Beavis and Butthead Do America. I actually remember going to see that movie back in the 90s. And I ran into my uncle at the movie theater because his wife's, her nephew was with him. It's kind of weird how we all ran into each other. They had went to see Beavis and Butthead Do America, which is kind of weird because I never would have pictured my uncle seeing that, but he took him to see it. And but yeah, this was one of those movies and shows that I remember capturing us kids back in junior high. We'd always sit around discussing what happened on Beavis and Butthead, and this show was controversial for its time. It was like South Park in a way, but whereas South Park has stayed around and become longer and become part of the cultural landscape, and you're like, man, this is like a South Park episode. Beavis and Butthead just had a short run. It had like 3 or 4 years, and Mike Judge kept moving away from it. He comes back to it, moves away, comes back, and I think it's airing now. It's airing on Paramount now. Now we're gonna get the comedies, and I picked up 4 comedies here, and 2 of these come from a flea market. I don't know if I had the flea market fun video up right now. I shot a good part of it at this one flea market, and I picked up these 2 movies. So you've seen it now or it's coming later, but you'll see what I picked up from that. But these come from different places. I think this come from a pawn shop, and it's Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty. And every time I picture God now, I picture Morgan Freeman as God. I don't know what it is. I think it's just him appearing in this movie, and we always like Bruce, like, why, questioning God. And God appears to him and says, "Okay, I'm gonna let you do this I'm gonna put you in control for a couple days." Well, a mortal man doesn't understand what the guy upstairs has to go through and what he has to answer. There is some comedy moments where Jim Carrey's like walking through the streets and the song "I Got the Power" comes on, and he's like hits the fire hydrant and explodes. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny for Jim Carrey. This is back in the 2000s. He had some great hits. Okay, now this was on my list of movies, and I had like a big list of movies from like 1960, 1993, and I'm trying to go all the way to current date of movies that I want to get. And I remember my friend Sean at Cheap Thrills posted, "Hey, dude, I got that movie in. It's here if you want it." And it was Casino Man. And he put it out for me. This was it. This just come in. And this is Pauly Shore and Brendan Fraser. And it's one of those fun movies for the pure fact that Brendan Fraser's character is a caveman that the unfreeze in current day 1990s, early 90s American. His name is Link, and he's just he likes to have fun. He's getting another chance at life to experience it in our modern day. And I didn't know this for years, but Brendan Fraser actually, his character Link shows up in another movie, I think by Pauly Shore, a couple years later, that he actually appears in an uncredited spot. And that they said, yeah, that's Link. He had appeared again, but yeah, I can't remember what the movie is. I just read up on it. I was like, oh, I got that movie. I was like, okay, that's weird. Now, these next two came from the flea market. And like I said, I don't know if this volume's posted yet. I know I was going to put some more material behind it. I was going to film another flea market or two to go with it. So it might not have aired yet, but you're going to see the first part of these pickups anyway from that one flea market. And I got Fat Albert. Hey. And yeah, this one actually has Kenan Thompson as Fat Albert. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I'm not gonna mention that, but Kenan Thompson had done 2 or 3 movies. I think one was Hot Dog, and one was Fat Albert. He's mostly busy on Saturday Night Live. His career is Saturday Night Live. He's tried a TV series, but he's just great at sketch comedy. That's what he's always wanted. He said that Saturday Night Live was his dream job, and hey, you can't. The guy's just great. He's funny, man. There's all kinds of funny spots and sketches with him. I remember What's Up With That. That was one of my favorite. That's one of me and Eddie's favorite ones. And he goes, "Lindsay." He bumps Lindsay Buckingham each time off the show, and he's, "Come on, smile, Lindsay." But yeah, Kenan Thompson is a good guy. He's funny as crap. And I ain't seen the Fat Albert movie. I know it's on Tubi and these other free streaming sites, but I gotta see that. Now, the other one I picked up at this flea market, these two movies were side by side. I was like, okay, I gotta get this one. I don't have this one on DVD. And it's Big Mama's House. Big Mama's House. The first Big Mama's House. And I know it's come back, they've done like 2 or 3 movies of this, and he done one with his son, and characters playing his son in the movie, and they dressed up like the Big Mama's House, like there's like 2 of them, but Martin Lawrence dresses up like this woman, and it's an undercover sting, and I think he's trying to get with this woman, and he ends up romantically involved with the woman at the end. That's who I think who has his son, which is a good, because like I've seen all 3 of them at some point or another. I don't know if I'll get the other 2, but I love the first one. First one's really good. And that's the ones I got from that flea market. That'll eventually happen. That you'll eventually see sometime. Now we're going to get to some sci-fi stuff. 2 sci-fi movies. And this one was with the Beavis and Butthead. This was in the dollar section. And this is an upgrade for me. I wanted to get this one because this was the ultimate edition. And it's Stargate. And I'm a big Kurt Russell fan. So I was like, I got to get a better edition of Stargate than what I got. And this is the director's cut of Stargate. And this started this whole franchise that lasted for like almost 2 to 3 decades. It lasted from like the late 90s all the way into 2010s. And they're actually thinking about bringing this back now. They're thinking about bringing Stargate back. So, but, Kurt Russell was the man, I love this character. I love that. Now, in another sci-fi movie I picked up, and this one was one that I picked this up at a pawn shop. And I don't really know how good this was. And the guy, I've got like 2 of his other movies. And he wrote his name on it, Cobb. I don't know if he's Ty Cobb, some relation to Ty Cobb, but it would be funny if it was. But this one is a 1-disc set of Shockwave. And I only picked it up because it's got Michael Dorn in it and Robert Picardo, 2 of the guys from Star Trek. I was like, I have never seen this. It looks interesting as hell. This one come from Blockbuster. This is another reason I picked it up too, because it's got the old Blockbuster thing on it. We used to have a Blockbuster video in our town. And it was unique. It was a unique Blockbuster. It started out into Kroger's, our local Kroger. And it actually expanded out into its own thing. Because in the late 80s, early 90s, Blockbuster started there. We used to have 4 or 5 movie stores. Mom and Pop ones and Movie Gallery and Blockbuster. And the 90s exploded, A guy my dad knew was going to start a movie rental store with a gas station. And he tried to talk my dad into it. My dad was like, I don't think I'm going to get into that. It's a good thing he didn't, because it only had like a boom for a few years. And then, but like I said, in the 90s, our Blockbuster, they just had crazy rental fees, and I'll never forget that, man. Everybody knows the story. Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for $50 million. I think it was $50 million was the price, and Blockbuster's like, there's no future in that rental by mail, because Netflix was doing rental by mail, DVDs through the mail. Well, today Blockbuster is a thing of the past, and Netflix has almost bought Warner Brothers. So there you go. That's how the tide can turn. Let's go ahead and finish this volume out. The history lesson is over. Now, I got 2 horror films in DVD form. I got The Remains, which I saw in Cheap Thrills, and I was like, man, this looks darn cool. And I mean, any movie that has a couple people screaming, and it has like a girl at a dollhouse, it looks, man, this is creepy. Even the back cover is creepy. Like I said, it's got 2 people screaming, and it's got this picture. I'm like, that's like, for $1, I gotta try this out. It's got Robert Downey Jr., Halle Berry, and Penelope Cruz in it. It's Gothica. Yeah. Tony Stark was in a horror film. Gothica. I seen this years ago. It's been years. So I'm kind of excited to watch it again. Now, I got 2 Blu-rays here. And one of them come from a pawn shop. And this one, I can't believe that back in the day, that this movie was this much at the Best Buy. But here we go. For $1, $2, I picked up Inception. The Christopher Nolan film Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, I've always heard this was a great movie. I'm pretty sure Frank has seen it. And I've seen, a guy goes into the dream world. He goes into dreams, and I'm like, has he ran into Freddy Krueger yet? That was the joke. But look at that Best Buy price they wanted for this thing back in the day. It was $30, and I think I paid $2 at that pawn shop for it. So I'm kind of excited about it. And the other Blu-ray I picked up was at Cheap Thrills. They had gotten these in collection of movies in. And I remember I seen this back in the 90s. And this movie came from the creators of Leprechaun. They was trying to create, I think, Full Moon. I think this is the name of the studio was doing this. Full Moon, or one of them was trying to create another series, another franchise. So they decided to make it about the Grimm's fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin. And if anybody don't remember the story of Rumpelstiltskin, I can remember bits and pieces of it. I think I can remember. He had to say his name or something. And, yeah, I think that was the name of it. Where the fairy tale ends, the nightmare begins. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah. I went ahead and picked it up. I was like, okay, I ain't seen this in years. It's worth a pickup. But that's it. That's it. That's the small volume of movies I've picked up the last couple months. And there may be another volume. Like I said at the start of this, at the end, when summer ends, I might do one. Or I'll see. I always build up till Christmas, so we'll see what happens. But I hope you enjoyed this volume. And I'm gonna go watch me some Gothica. Oh yeah, Gothica.
Hey, baby. Come to Butthead.